would like to call the May 18 Lewis DPW Finance Committee at 10 o'clock to order. And welcome everybody who was able to come and find a chair. Roll call. I'm here. Bob Heffernan, Robin Davis, Kimberly Bellier, Trina Brown Hicks, Mike Hogan, Calvin Jaber, Carolyn Jones, and Chris Feller. You all for stopping by. Number 3, review of minutes from 3:13 and 4:13.
I did my changes already. There was one item that was brought to my attention on the April 13th meeting. Under number 4, the second paragraph, third sentence, it says Nichols will remain as chair, to change that to co-chair as he shares it with Bob.
All right.
That's why they increased your salary, Bob.
Gotta be aware of this thing.
That is the only note I have. I don't know if you guys have anything.
I do.
There's something small I saw in there, and I apologize. I don't have a printer down here, and I thought I'd keep it in my head, and now it's not in my head anymore. So, it wasn't monumental, but it was.
Any other comments?
If we are remarking that you were going to remain as co-chair, should we not list Bob?
Didn't it say that
No.
all the other?
No. But you guys,
Bob was not here. He was not here to speak up that he was.
you guys don't really get a choice because it specifically says
Yeah.
treasurer,
Yeah.
treasurer, and assistant,
Yeah.
assistant treasurer. Okay.
Any other comments? I have a motion to approve the 2 sets of minutes.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Um,
I can't vote on it for. I did watch it all.
Oh, very nice.
So is that a remote abstention? Yeah. I'll abstain. Okay. Number 4, presentation and review of finance framework for Q4YPD.
So this is the full year now for the fourth quarter, year to date. If you look at page number 2, our last line 21 through 25 is our ending cash and equivalent balances. It shows about $11.26 million between the liquidity account and the operating account. We still have not gone through audit. There's some adjusting entries I'm sure that they're going to find. And I did not go through the debt timing adjustment, and we're going to get to that, but that is actually going through the disbursement request to the state of what occurred in fiscal year 26, and we did not receive money until fiscal year 27. So we show the expense for the capital, but we didn't actually get that revenue in. Yes. So I still need to do that. And then the audit entries.
What was the main reason we were below expected on line 5 versus last year budget? Because I sort of thought we were ahead.
That is a great question. That is operating. So that is coming from change in operating balances right here. On page 3, lines 12 through 16, we put more money into the operating reserve. So it came out of our operating account.
No, you made a discretionary move of money into the operating reserve. The operating reserve was low.
Right, that's.
She didn't have to do it within policy,
Oh,
but she did it on top of.
I got you.
Yeah. She also did a similar but opposite thing in the capital reserve
Sort of
account, which
question to
will
make.
affect some of these numbers as well.
Yeah. And, the next item I have is line, or page, nope. Reserves. And. Hold on. Here we go.
Need the table of contents.
I know. My notes are.
Don't fall over there.
Page 7 for, financial reserves. We have a total of about 10.1 million.
Last chance to get there.
Yeah. So that would be line 15 plus line 30, and that is split up operating and capital. And that is further broken down on page 11. To show our operating reserves ending balance versus our required.
Given what you work, everybody's trying to fuss or look around here to kind of point the line numbers. For everybody. This page number 11 is actually very important for the reserves, and it's good to kind of understand it.
Okay.
So this is our policy monitor, to show what we actually are ending up with in our reserve versus what our policy says we're supposed to have. So overall, we're about $60,000 over our reserve, but as you can see on line 15 for operating, we are short about 57,000.
Yeah,
But we budgeted to be short 1.2 million.
yeah. Yeah, I see it.
And then our capital reserves, we are over by 116. And again, we took money out of the capital reserves that we did not need.
So we were over reserved in capital and
Okay, yeah,
under reserved,
okay.
and Kim rectified all that by doing non-policy movements, stuff that's allowed but non-policy
Yeah,
movements.
yeah, right.
And then page 14, this is your debt page.
By the way, the heading says protect your reason.
It's waiting just for audit.
Your purposes are.
It's waiting for audit and then the debt timing, but yes. So page 14 is the debt page. Lines 11 through 15 is that timing adjustment that I spoke about. So there's already something in there from last year that we incurred about 1.2 million in expense, but we never received that money. And you see that the following year. And
Why did that happen?
so that is, we paid the bill to GMB or whatever the contractor. And then we sent that disbursement request to the state, and then the state never gave us our money yet. So it's
It's all
just,
timing.
yeah,
It's all timing.
You were
so,
expecting the money though.
yes. So it was an expense that happened in February or March, but then we didn't receive the money until April, or May. So it's the difference of 2 years.
Point is you got the money, so.
Yes.
The other part is irrelevant.
Next page is page 15.
Why?
Sometimes it's just that it's at the end of the year.
The
And,
timing.
yeah, but then, they do have a staffing issue at the state.
So many days or something.
It's generally within 30 days. Some of them are taking up to 90 days. For page 15, this is, on lines 1 and 2. This is usually an adjusting entry for investment expense. They offset at the admin expense. I did have a call with them last week challenging that because I
With them.
call with the auditor,
Oh, okay, thank you.
challenging them if that should actually be done because we're understating that the admin expense to run the company because they're thinking of that it's admin deciding not to transfer the investments interest to the operating account. That's why they put it there. So we're in talks about that of if we're changing that
So
adjustment.
it's all
entry.
like timing.
So this is the investments earn interest.
Okay,
So we put that to revenue.
I got you.
And if we don't offset that, then we recognize that revenue.
It's not there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're offsetting it to investment
Yeah, I
account
got you. I got you.
and then they're putting it to admin.
Right.
And I don't know if there's some other way that we can do that to display that.
Is there a general ledger under admin that fits, so we're gonna kind of like jumping in?
That's why we're having that discussion is if we should have a different account to actually, yeah.
So the family stuff like in the.
So that
account?
it was selected because it was admin decision not to move the money is why they put it there. So now we're having a talk of whether that's, yes. Page 16. Lines 6 through 8. I did find a formula error. What? For the ready to serve, we were using the beginning meter numbers instead of the ending. It's immaterial. It's $20,000 difference for year end, but lines 6 through 8.
Just picked up the wrong number.
And I also wanted to talk about the miscellaneous other revenue.
What's that?
It's much higher than what we budgeted. We did receive $208,000 from DMEC for the Indian River refund after the ruling from the FERC court, Federal Energy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Those guys.
Uh-huh. We received $35,000 for transformers that we initially bought for the battery project, but the battery project is not happening. So we sold those back. And then we have another $48,000 in new pole rental from what is the company? Pole rental. Chantel, thank you.
Same, yeah, like, low fiber, yeah.
Yeah.
I just got that.
And my next note, so I did go through here and start analyzing, obviously, is for page 18 for usage. Line 4, commercial 3-phase, it jumped pretty high. The station at King's and the Lewis Brewery jumped up quite a bit from last year, so the brewery makes sense. I'm not sure if Station at King's, if they had like a new building there.
There, yes.
Yeah.
Brad is on.
Yeah.
Page 18,
Page 18,
line 4, you said?
Yeah,
Line 4.
the 45% jump.
Yeah. And then line 6, that 23.5 decrease,
Yeah.
Big Oyster had a big decrease in their usage. We do not know.
That's weird.
I just looked at it this morning, so I did not
Don't
know.
invest in Big Oyster.
Yeah,
So when we see these decreases as significant as they are, what's our typical process? Turn, you call them up, you investigate, what do we do?
yeah, it would be contacting them.
So the 45% was who?
Station at King's and the Lewis Brewery.
So those businesses are running better than expected. Lewis Brewery always looked crowded to me.
Yeah.
I think they're doing pretty well.
Big Oyster is too, though.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got that right. Always.
parking.
Get them.
Bad word, parking.
Just try more.
I know nothing.
So my next
Smart.
note comes from page 23 for water utility. 1, line 9, sales adjustment. There's a large 200 plus sales adjustment. That is coming from Donovan Smith. We worked out a deal with them. They were not paying their bills because they didn't agree with how we were billing them.
So they
So,
weren't paying it all.
yes.
How's that work?
I'm gonna start using that myself.
Did you hear me? How does that work?
So, we had to go through the agreement and, what we meant, what they read it as, and, we have adjusted the late fees and, some ready to serve fees.
Did you hit them with the late fees anyway?
No,
Did you write them off?
we wrote them off. So this is a write-off.
Okay.
Clean slate.
Yep. Kind of.
What lesson learned?
It's just such a thing.
If the language was just ambiguous.
It was a unique project, so there are 2 meters, but only one meter reads the actual water usage. So the argument they were having is they didn't feel that they needed to pay the ready to serve for the 2 meters as opposed to the 1. So.
It was as good as any.
But it's all rectified now.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, for the most part.
Yeah.
We're fighting about a couple months now, but
It's been narrowed down.
yeah.
I don't know.
Tell them to try utilities till you resolve it.
Can't do that.
Unfortunately.
It's like the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Oh, no.
Yeah, really.
What's the next page?
Page 26. Line 7 through 9, 1¼ inch. You see a big difference in the percent usage for the lower brackets. This is the Delaware Pilots Association, which I did speak about this maybe 2 or 3 meetings ago.
Where are you at, Kim?
Line 7 through 9 on page 26.
You said lower percentage?
Yes.
Okay, from the, yeah. Six.
Yep. So they're getting a lot of their usage at the over 9,000 gallons rate.
So what does this do for our projection? Looks like projecting, we're pretty much linear from 25. So
So
that's
that-
sustainable, those lower rates, lower percentages sustainable.
So that means we're actually getting more revenue from them because they're paying the higher bracket.
The 73.
So we did create the service order for checking for a leak. They did not find a leak when they went out. They said that it could be underground. But further into this, their irrigation is way down. So I don't know if maybe they're using their water for irrigation, which I didn't see that until I started analyzing this. So
Well, it has.
that's going to be a further discussion with them.
But meanwhile, we've collected the fee.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. They have been paying their bill. No Donovan Smith situation there. So next page is page 34, and then this is the irrigation. Line 2, that 35% that it's down. The Delaware Pilots Association is in that category. And they are considerably down. Also, Harbor Point, HOA, and then there's about 10 other residential that were down about 50,000 gallons through the year. Adding to that total.
And because the meter that's being read shows that.
Yes, less usage than last year. Yes,
You said line 2, right? 1 inch?
line 2, 1, yep,
That was 38 to 35. 34, you're interested?
yeah, 30.
Yeah, negative.
38 to 35.
Could less usage be a conscious decision
It could be.
for residents?
He says.
I know it is for me.
Oh, sure it is.
3%.
No, it was a 35% decrease.
She was betting on zeros,
Yeah.
change
Water, everything, you name
in
it,
the budget.
because they are.
Okay.
Comments.
Mm-hmm.
And then line 4, 1.5 inch. That is, Fisher's Cove HOA that was added this year.
The 157.
156.
So they more than doubled that total for 1.5 inch. It went from 2 to 3. Meters, so it's significant.
Coming online. Could you have found this before?
No.
Good job.
Good question.
And
I mean, could we have found this last year or 2 years ago?
no, it would have, had to been found while billing is doing their analysis of the 4,000 accounts to see one number jump out.
And that would have been,
A needle in a haystack.
Yes,
What-
less likely to happen.
One for the home team.
156 because more houses on Y, right?
The Fisher's Cove HOA irrigation system. So they came online this year. And then the last note on this page is line 5. And we're down almost half, 50%. Old Town Lewis LP was down. Lewis Waterfront Preserve is down, and the library is down. So that is contacts that we need to make of if they're choosing that or if,
I would just,
Yeah.
I would think Lewis Waterfront Preserve had some deal a year ago about, golly, this is gonna cost us, and they were using numbers like $750,000 internally. So they, I'm just saying that now that was completely wrong, okay? But they believed it and went looking for it, so I imagine they have fixed something.
Like that, those.
They took 1 month, multiplied by 12 and said, you know, we need relief.
Somebody went to Home Depot and got some duct tape and got that.
I don't know.
Somebody did something.
But I would suspect that they had a problem and, decided to close the fire hydrant or something.
That's almost.
I thought you did it. You closed it.
The Old Town is a customer choice.
Oh, please.
Curious, who makes these calls? Who calls up these clients and say, hey, what's going on?
it's our billing, that cost. Page 41 for wastewater. I just have it highlighted to note Sussex County increasing their usage as we've agreed that they've,
Which line item?
line 4. That they have been calling to our wastewater treatment plant to make sure that they can send more flow. And then out of city industrial, that 258%, that is the high school water leak. If you guys might remember that conversation, that they had a leak for a few months that they thought they found it a few times. We offered to help. They said that they found it and it was probably like their third
what line is
attempt.
Right here on
Line 7.
200.
It was about their third attempt that they actually did find a leak.
So the high school was leaking. Where saw that water go?
It actually was leaking right into the storm drain.
Oh, you're kidding.
That's so.
Well, at least it wasn't going in the water treatment plant, right?
Really?
That was actually going into
Because
the
it's
storm
right
drain.
there.
Page 42 for the wastewater utility
So
expense.
they got corresponding storm water increase of them.
Yes, they paid those bills. Page 42 for wastewater utility, line 4, repairs and maintenance. Our pumping and hauling was up $200,000 from last year.
You're what?
Pumping and hauling the waste from the wastewater treatment plant. That's mostly coming from Clean Delaware. In Infomark, a member of Infomark has notified us that they keep sending smaller tankers, and we pay per load. So if they keep sending smaller tankers, we're gonna be paying more. So I did contact them. They are doing a prorated rate for us now of using the big tank.
Opposed to
As opposed to a smaller.
small ones.
So Kim, again, to Bob's question, is this helping you figure that out and see these little
Correct.
and things?
I would not have known that.
Memories.
And these yellow highlights for this,
Plumbing.
plumbing and the, salaries and benefits, I highlighted that for me to remember to go back to check to make sure that was right. And I did check it, but I forgot to take off the yellow.
Right, okay.
And before the capital projects, page 44, for stormwater utility expense. For other, it shows that it went up by 32%. It was really about $5,000 because their expenses are so low. And that is coming from fleet. I did not get into it to see what vehicle in particular, but it's coming from the fleet account for work done to our equipment and vehicles. For our capital projects, page 45 is where it starts. There are few, like undergrounding Bay Breeze that was originally in this budget and it did not get done at all. It moved to the following year. Also the lines 17 and 18 support, projects and developer reimbursement. I did not originally put numbers in there. So I missed that on the budget and I have the actual numbers in there now.
Which line was that?
17 and 18. Again, not material. And we spent less than budgeted. Same stories for water, utility. There's some that I over budgeted, under budgeted. 46. Lines 1, 2, and 3. Lines 1 and 3, I over budgeted, we spent less. And line 2, I under budgeted, we spent more. So that was the canal crossing. Capes Cove got pushed down. And this came, yeah.
For Canal Crossing, did we ever try to get an insurance payout for that, or did we just fund it ourselves?
We just did it ourselves.
Wonder if that would have been an insurable event. I know it might be too late now.
I don't think so, because the pipe that failed was known to be a problem, and we had, I mean, the reason it got done, and Robin got it through his first day of his acting general managership, was it was identified, it was budgeted, it was in the capital budget going forward, and all ready to go. And I think the money had been applied for with the state. Then it failed. So we look relatively good by being
Ahead of you.
prepared.
Yeah.
And we're able to get the approvals in kind of record time with a lot of help. So I don't think we were looking for others to pay it. And you know, we got money from the state to do it.
So you're ahead of the game.
For Monroe Railroad, that got pushed down a few years. And a lot of these that are moving were moving with the city. So as their priorities change, so will ours. So we're all working together.
Yes.
Yes, line 27. And then the same thing with lines 41 and 42 about the support projects on the developer. And my page 47, line 45 is the only one I have highlighted here of that. I had less money and then we ended up spending considerably more to the header and less to the tower. So, for some reason, we had this brilliant idea of getting funded, all in one loan for two different projects because they were happening at the same time. So we're keeping track of two different assets, but one pool of money from the state. So that's what you're seeing there is that I put too much money to the water tower and not enough to the common header.
Just make an adjustment.
Yeah.
That's all.
And then again on page, or line 63, we spent less money than budgeted.
Good.
Wastewater has a lot of the same stories because they have the same projects as water.
Okay.
Page 48. Except for line 24, Alaska Avenue. We originally planned 100,000 for this year. That is getting pushed down. We thought we were going to finish it for this fiscal year, but it's going into 2027 for bidding process. And
So the year end is just 13?
Yep.
Versus 100,000 budget.
Yep.
Jesus. Okay.
And on page 49, same thing. We had spent less money than we budgeted. Yes. Page 60, or line 61. And on stormwater, page 50, line 28, you can see the difference between those two as well.
Yeah.
Jump up at 27 on 2027.
We do jump up for 2027. We have a few failing pipes that we need to address as soon as possible.
Essentially, the company.
Yeah.
If
Yep.
you want pages, when you administer them,
Yes.
or the time issue for you.
So I actually did that over the weekend of these notes and into this morning.
So that we can don't.
Yeah, so in the future, I absolutely want to do that. Yes. So overall, this model's fantastic that we're finding things that we never found before and doing more, analyzing.
Detail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent.
So are you calling, when you call the clients, what do they say? What's about errors you find? Or why are you getting someone to the first time that they call in?
So the high school and the Delaware pilots, we have contacted them already because I saw it on the last meeting when we went through this. The pilot, the Delaware pilots, we went out there and we couldn't find a leak, so it could possibly be underground.
I'm just very generally when you talk to clients.
They're happy that we
They ever get called before about issues on?
if she found them before from her analyst.
The thing is,
You can.
kind of a follow-up to what's the estimated time you and your staff took to ferret out what you just went through, finding the things that you would not have found without this framework?
I probably spent, so like to actually like pick out the things, it was pretty quick, maybe a half an hour. But then to actually go into the system
Right.
to see it, I'd probably say 3 to 4 hours.
Okay. So a very good return on investment of time.
Excellent. Absolutely.
Thank you. Well done. Thank you, Mike, for pushing us through with this, with him, to put this framework together and seeing how it's working and seeing additional tweaks and.
A couple of things I want to point out, because this is going to come up again shortly when we talk about the cost of service providers, but when Richard started down this path a while ago, he said he wanted maximum transparency in what's going on so everybody could really see everything in detail. And Kim very early on said she's very detail oriented. You could build a model that's much less detailed than this. That would have been much easier, much quicker to put together. But Kim said she wanted all the detail, as much detail as possible. And now she's using that detail to get in there and find things that, if you meld this all together, some of these things cancel out. Maybe you're over in one, you're under in another, and when you mush them all together, everything looks normal. But when you separate them out, you can see the pipe at the high school, or you can see that, things start to become clear. But then you get 50 pages instead of a 15 page, so there's a trade-off. But another thing that was really important in the structure was to integrate budgeting with budgeting, monitoring, and all that stuff with forecasting and long-term forecasting. That's why we've got 10 columns out on top of just the budget. It was also important, I guess, the way we organize it around this cash flow notion and when does money come in and when does it go out. And there's a lot of decisions that were made that Kim is really pulling on now. She's sort of digging into this model and trying to pull out insights from it. And I can just tell you from experience, the more it gets used, the more insights will more naturally flow from this now. We're just at the very start of it. There's also policy stuff has been added in here, cash policy and reserve policies, which are going to be very important, in how much insight comes out of this model. So there's a lot of things are going on in here that I don't want people to lose sight of. It's, there was a lot of effort that went in there, but I think a lot of those decisions ultimately are, as you can just see with Kim's discussion, are really starting to pay off.
Well, you can see because she's comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So it's apparent.
Are they, in the industry generally, are they model or use similar to these? They're not Excel based.
That is such a great question.
Next topic.
Yeah, for next topic, there is actually a person who offers or company that offers a cost of service study that offers software.
I saw that. And it looks like they have a similar model.
Yes. Yes, they sure do.
And I think I saw a comment earlier, you want to get out of Excel.
I sure wouldn't mind it. Excel is great. It is absolutely wonderful. You can do so many things with it, but then,
Been around a long.
but then you can also make mistakes with it.
Sure.
Sure. When you have 51 pages.
Yeah.
So, jump right ahead here, but there's a notion that you would take, at least the framework is good, all the detail, you have the history, you have what's going on, you have the flows. That you would take this and then integrate it into this model.
Yes.
Before we get too far down that path, because that's a great discussion, great segue, can I just make a comment or two about? So a couple of things that I've mentioned this before, but I want to keep it on everybody's radar because I think should become a big topic for us. If you go down to line 25 on page 2. By the way, there's one other thing I want to say about some of these modeling decisions we made early on. We decided early on, a lot of this was with Richard's guidance, but also Kim wanted the detail to break this out by utility, which allows, more fact finding. In other words, we could combine all this stuff up and roll it up into just a big aggregate number and not break out to the individual utilities, but you get so much more insight by doing that effort. So, but the reason I wanted to point you to line 25, and if you look down at projected year end, we're ending up, as Kim already said, with over $11 million in cash and equivalent. And that's after Kim has made a very large contribution to some of our reserve account. She took money out of one and put money in the other. Next year, it may go to 15 million.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, we actually raised debt this year. So we're amassing a lot of cash and equivalents, or it's sort of like you've got your income. Think about yourself personally. You have an income coming in every year, and you decide to fund something with a lot of debt. So your bank account's getting larger and larger and larger, but you're also taking on more and more debt. So a question I think we need to grapple with somewhat soon is debt policy. Do we need to be taking on this level of debt that we're taking on? Should we be internally funding some of these projects? And this gets down to a conversation we had the last couple of meetings, which is there's a notion between the equipment and capital that's in place that the current users are wearing out. So they should be paying for the cost of wearing that equipment out. That's, in other words, that's part of the cost of the service. Versus the new stuff that's going in, like the new water tank, which nobody currently is wearing out. That's actually going in place for the future. And that perhaps should be funded by debt, which I know it is, but that should be funded by debt and then paid for by the future users, whoever they may be. There may be big overlap between the two. Yeah, we've had that before.
I remember this.
But I want to keep this on people's radar because at the same time we're taking on millions of dollars in debt, we're raising millions of dollars in cash. And it at some point you've got to ask yourself, do you fund these projects more internally or do you lower rates? You know, in other words, there's decisions that have to be made around here, and some of this will get back to what our debt policy is.
Absolutely.
I think it's good that you've gone through this process and understand the nuances when you might get those. Makes sense.
The way you said that, it brings it back to you saying that a long time ago, still lose sight of.
Yeah.
Of what we.
We've got some other stuff to kind of work out right now, but I think
But
before
it's
the
gonna
end of
come
this
right
year,
back
we
to
should
that.
kind of figure that one out.
Yes, I agree.
We're in fine.
We are on 5 for the,
Chairman here.
Yep. So the cost of service study bids, and possible recommendations to the board. So last month I brought you, UFS and Raftellus.
Yeah.
We are waiting on the references to come back, on Raftellus.
You wasn't before.
Yes, that was recap.
Yeah, okay.
While between that meeting and this meeting, another company called Waterworth contacted me.
Is the window still open for that to happen?
So I just solicited bids. I did not do an RFP.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Good thing you did that.
So, they contacted us. Somehow they saw that we were soliciting bids about, cost of service.
Mm-hmm.
We're on your list.
They were not. I had,
Haven't heard of them.
yep. So they offer all the same items as Raftellus and UFS. Plus they have a software. So they're not in Excel.
We've had time to look through that.
Yep. So I had a meeting with them first, to go through the software. I liked it. And then I brought Mike on with my co-creator of the, the framework. And all of their answers were exactly how we set up our framework. That it's annual,
Cash flow based.
cash flow base. It was all exactly how we set it up.
Separated by the 4 utilities also.
Yep. And then they have other items like, I don't have to manually create amortization schedules, that it does it all through the system. I don't have to manually create graphs and charts.
And
It does
they
it all
do it?
through the system, all through the software. That, all the information is in there, and it has like a display, of all the information you can select. And you just click the lines and they'll show up on the graph of like however you want to present it, how much information, how little information.
Will they interface with their existing system somehow? So you don't have to manually input all the stuff.
So they offer unlimited support that we can decide whatever we want to do. If we want to keep giving them all the information and they update the model for us.
Versus you doing this.
Yeah. Or if we just want to give them the information initially and then we take over the software and ask them if we have any questions as we're going through the information. It's all up to us. How they want to use.
on them?
Yes.
So how do you get the information in the system if you take it on ourselves?
Well, I would suggest that we send them
Yeah, I would.
everything first. And then after that, then we decide of if we keep feeding or if we just take it over.
Because I'm asking a question, can you interface with existing systems and have it update automatically? Whatever,
Through our accounting system,
Yeah.
didn't we have, I don't,
Well, we also have an issue because it's one thing to do the historical stuff, it's another thing to do forecasting. For forecasting, Kim's gotta put in her
Yeah.
assumptions and things like that.
Yeah,
I think the answer was that we had to manually input everything.
so tell me about
On-
that.
on-
Have a starting
on-
point,
on-
basically,
Yeah.
with them.
so you couldn't feed off of.
I'm sure there's a way
I'll
that
remember
we could integrate it into the general ledger.
Yeah, the general ledger would be where it's coming from.
So what's other people saying about it?
So,
There's gotta be a way to do that.
yeah, I feel like
You don't want to.
the report should be able to pull through.
Right.
And they did describe themselves as a software company first,
Mm,
so,
Did you do due diligence with you calling any of these people?
yes. So I got
was trying to get to.
I got 30 references back for Waterworth. The software is easy to use. They're responsive. One
Did you
person,
pick these people out or did they do two?
I picked them out.
Okay,
They
that's-
tried to give me a list,
No, no, no.
but
You don't want
I
that list.
literally went to this page. I looked them up to make sure I had the right emblem and
Exactly.
started emailing
So
and
you
calling.
did
Yeah.
your own ref,
Yeah.
okay, that's
Probably
very
similar size and similar.
They're some of them are our size, but most of them are larger.
So tell me,
The software is easy to use. They're responsive. One person said, best software investment we ever made. They incorporated their needs in the software. And then there was one person that did have I guess, I don't know if you call it negative, but they're new to power and their council was not comfortable with them doing the power cost of service.
it's a different ballgame.
That they've only been in power for 3 years.
Yeah, I don't understand
How
the,
long have they been in business?
I had that information. Is it in here?
what was,
How long have they been in
I didn't
business?
see that in there, Kim.
It was given to me in the meeting, but I don't have it written down. But
20 years, 2 years?
I want to say about 15
Yeah,
years.
I just want to make sure
Yeah.
I'm a new kid on the block.
Yeah, and no,
Nicely, Carolyn, they have over 400 clients now, so they're not, and they're all over the country. It's not just
Really?
a couple.
yeah,
you know.
they're in Canada
Yeah.
and America.
That's in this thing here.
No, I didn't.
I felt the same way you did, though.
Because it's, I just, okay.
I was worried about the same thing you
Yeah,
were, you know.
right. I'm feeling good so far.
So why was your recommendation to exclude electric?
So that's, the staff recommendation was to award it to Waterworth.
Yeah,
But if we as a group, do feel uncomfortable with them being new to power, if we want to give that to somebody more experienced in power, that would be Raftellus. And, if we did that, that would bring us
Because
about,
that's an area of expertise that they have.
yes,
That's your point. Okay.
yes. And that would bring us about $29,000 over what we budgeted.
Yeah.
The real issue there, and it's important, the one knock that Kim found in this Waterworth is that they didn't have that the energy experience. For 1 year, we could ask another firm to
Of
run
course you can. Of
simultaneous.
course you can.
And then if we at the end of that year, if you said, boy, they're basically the same, they've got their confidence up.
Yes,
But let's not forget, electric utility is very, very important to this organization. So we want
Exactly.
to make sure we
get
Yeah.
the main,
get it
yes,
right. So that might be money well spent,
I totally agree.
but it would be a lot easier at the end of the day if we were comfortable that Waterworth could do the whole thing, and then you.
That's the end goal.
That's the end.
Yep, they sound good.
So if you run, I mean, I've got the running tandem there for electric anyway, but that means you're running 2 systems.
So
Is that gonna be a burden on staff?
I'm gonna be giving all the same information that I'd be giving to Raftellus and Waterworth.
Are
Regardless.
they including everything? Both
So-
companies are including
I think
data?
it's important to be clear that Raftellus isn't providing a software. This is focused on the cost of service.
Right.
The Waterworth
And that's-
is giving us a bonus of the
That's
software.
the point.
So that's above and beyond what we were even looking for to start with.
And because this organization is moving to a modeling-based financial framework, that becomes something that's not just a nice to have, it's could
Yes,
be integral.
So just to be clear, we would go with Waterworks in all 4 utilities.
Mhm.
And then we also supplement that just to make sure that the numbers are, well, ranking software. So what are we getting back from
Raftella.
Rectella that we're gonna be able to use and validate or
So they
somehow that.
they use Excel. They use the Excel model. And this is to compare it to what we have already. We already have that check as well. That extra, check to see if our numbers are matching.
But I think what Calvin's asking, you're gonna get rates like by single phase, triple phase, all those types of rate breakdown that we have in our model. They're gonna come up with new projections of what those rates should be through time. As will Waterworth, and then we'll be able to compare the two. Yeah.
And
Is that worth, those projections are worth 32,000? It's like that material at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'd rather make sure that we get it right.
So the recommendation is go with Waterworks, all 4 utilities, and supplement that with Rectella for electric.
That's,
Yes.
yeah.
But you're,
And they just came out of nowhere this,
Yep. Yeah, so they just cold called
wow.
and then I talked to him for about 15 minutes and he said, he was like, now that I know a little bit about your company, would you mind if we did like a 30-minute sales call?
Yeah.
And I was like, let's go ahead. He was like, and if, you don't like it, whatever. And then after the 30 minutes, I was like, all right, so let's do another phone call for the model. And then we did a phone call for the model and I was like, okay, I love that. Can we do another phone call with another person from?
Seriously,
Yeah.
that's where you go and that's how you do it.
Yeah. That Paul was the salesperson.
so how far does this change your billing and payments system? Where's the interface between you collect money from my retail account?
This will hopefully be a replacement from the Excel version to the software.
That's the main point.
Okay.
Most
Just
things get rid of
missed it.
Excel.
Yep.
So also too, you have 400 users that, there's no question, and they have support, so if there's any glitches in the software, they'll be identified
Yeah.
pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's not, it didn't just turn on.
Right.
a month.
Yes.
It's-
Yeah.
Right.
It actually sounds,
And one of the people that I did contact, that I apparently got lucky of the person that came back to me, but they said that they were one of the first handful of customers that they had, and they said that they pretty much helped build the software for what their needs were for over a decade.
Yeah, I think it's,
But we have one other
it
thing.
is a win-win.
Kim can actually run our framework in tandem for, let's say, a year, just to kind of,
Yeah,
this isn't like, well, now we got a new thing, we'll just abandon it.
yeah.
But if this thing is as good as it sounds,
Mhm.
it would, success of this would be we get rid of this ultimately, and we have a new, streamlined. slick
And it
system.
also adds to the succession plan if something were to happen to me. There's that backup for Waterworth that they can contact them.
Absolutely.
They also integrate in reserve policy and cash management policy, just like we talked about in our model. So they do cash, almost every major
Yep.
decision we made in structuring this, they actually have in their model. So it's,
How could we be that lucky?
Yeah.
so I guess two things I want to say. One, I think you can't overstate enough how important understanding this model and the flows, because then you have an intelligent conversation with them.
Yeah.
You know exactly what you're talking about. So I think, Jen, it's great to have this. Once you have the software, though, if you want to make recommendations for changes, how receptive are they to that? Will they have that discussion about, we want this, we want that?
Yeah, so
Are they buildable, additional
Yes.
software
Capabilities?
Yes.
capabilities?
So they said that they incorporate whatever the specific municipal needs are, and like they said in the call, that they consider themselves a software company first before financial, that they are building and changing.
So what
No,
else?
it's not like they're trying to, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Not trying to fit everything into one model. They have the capability of adjusting.
So it's the one model, and then Yes, yes, that it's, catered to
Right.
what we need. Yes, yes, yes. But it's like the one model and they have like the different modules all down the side of what you need, want to work in. And,
They actually sound too good.
you know,
What a guy.
I'm glad I answered the
And I'm
phone.
saying to myself, they came out of nowhere, which.
Yeah.
To me, what chances are we taking? We're gonna be running there, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no chance here.
Well, as Calvin just pointed out too, developing our framework,
Yeah.
now the discussions are much richer than it would have been.
Yeah,
A year, 2 years ago, it would have been a very
Yeah, but
different
now we can talk with
discussion.
intelligence.
Yeah.
We know what we've been working on for the last whatever.
Are there any
Next
copyright issues to be
Yeah.
considered?
What- In
the
what way?
software and, manipulating it or?
Do you have standard agreements that are legal agreements?
We did not get to that point.
Yes,
It's something.
The Explorer, the languages.
I mean, your real risk is if you end up terminating it at some point.
Yeah, but
If they
that's
gotta
okay.
launch you in, then you gotta,
Yes, that's capability.
and just something for you to think about too. This model that they have may also be applicable to cities, municipal, not just utilities. So if it's something you like,
Good luck with that.
but anyway.
That is what they said, that they started out with water. That's
I couldn't help
named water work.
Take
And
that.
then they went to sewer and then stormwater and now they're doing, power, they're doing trash, they're doing parks, they're
Do
doing,
you agree that porta potties are a city function?
yes. So,
Pretty old.
You get it.
so the next step would have the finance committee, I guess it'll be a vote to recommend,
Yes,
Waterworth with Raftellus Electric.
all in favor.
It's Raftellus electric only,
Only,
and Raftellus would understand that it's electric only,
correct.
but they'd be getting the same bed information that
Waterworth,
Waterworth is taking.
yes.
Any
I
time
mean,
frame
our
on
own
this?
recommendation, made our own.
After the board meeting, I would notify them that they received the bid and they would give me a list of everything that they need.
You hit the ground running.
Yep,
And
It's just the timing is.
Yeah.
What's the duration of getting something back?
we
to
expect to have reports to be reviewed in October.
review?
So what other due diligence are we missing here? I
But
feel
either
like
way,
we're jumping on
Due
this.
diligence.
If we're going to a car dealership, we've got the new car smell, and we're jumping on the first thing has all the bells and whistles, and we're signing on the bottom line.
Yeah, could we think up some really good hard questions to
Okay,
get
go.
answered?
go.
I don't know.
Well, see now, you gotta think of something if you're gonna suggest it.
No, I just want,
Well, whatever, besides the stability of the company, confidentiality,
somebody,
what the user interfaces are, how many users you have, is it you and just you, or just Robin, or whatever, how it works. I mean, I would think it might be worth visiting one of these locations to look over their shoulder.
Well, you're talking about people's financials, they're gonna let you come in and visit. I mean, I saw my
Sure.
face,
Well, I
but,
don't know.
I've been in finance my whole, just my life. I mean, walk into a place and say, well, give us an idea what it looks like.
well, people love to talk.
Yeah, but
Well,
people
people
are
are
one thing, but
talking.
you gotta
They
like
talk in
it.
generality.
Yes,
They're not-
exactly.
Some things are
You're
proprietary.
not interested in the fact that the city of Moline has revenues of this and profits of that. You're interested in how it works for them, how they use it.
Well, that's what
So,
references.
Yeah, I've
And that's
done
what
3
she's
references
done.
already,
Yeah,
that they were all good except for one that they weren't comfortable with using them for power.
Well, the proof is all putting, right? So, let's speak. So why can't you take Bob's suggestion, knock on people's doors, see if you can just watch over their shoulder? This is all public, financial stuff is all public.
yeah, I know.
But am I
I
gonna go to Virginia and
You know what, we're just gonna put it out there.
Interview somebody, you looking for the reference to hire them. you know, you call the references and that's where you stop. I mean.
Well, at least I did as director of HR for 20 years.
You don't go just.
You just go to somebody's place, right?
Bob, an alternative, maybe we can have them maybe come and do a demo for us. If you want to, Kim and I were able to go through a demo with them a week ago, but
Oh, that's an
that might
idea.
be helpful if we
Yeah,
kind of
that's
see
an
what
idea.
the output looks like.
Yeah.
And on top of the references, you know, the people that are using.
So this would push it back a month. So now we're looking at towards the end of 2026 that we'll be getting the reports for it to be implemented for budget of 2028.
Oh, my God.
So,
Long
yeah, I don't love
It won't
pushing it
be, it won't be in my lifetime.
That's
back.
not my question.
It won't be in my lifetime.
I don't love the idea of pushing it back. And if we are uncomfortable with Waterworth, I would say to do Raftellus and for all of it.
We're
You have an option here.
No,
You're saying
parallel
projections
until we
across
decide.
anything.
I think so.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Could we bifurcate?
Could we vote on a motion for
Cost of
him
service for the
to
future and then the
go
operational.
forward
It's all
with
gonna be,
All
All right, let's get it. Can we get the attention over here? Go ahead.
progressing to hire Waterworth for all 4 utilities? And at the same time, Rafaelis for electric. And to continue the due diligence and progress that makes sense. You know, including maybe while they know that they are being considered, they come and do a demonstration if that seems like it really is necessary.
So is your motion?
The issue is gonna be that you're not gonna have time, because we're going to make the agenda for the board meeting on Wednesday. So,
Okay.
and this was planning on to be on the board meeting
So
agenda.
what's specifically that we're approval?
Approval, yep, the board will be approving somebody to do the cost of service study.
Okay, so the cost of service for Waterworth, all 4 utilities, and Raftellus for just the electric.
and just to be clear, I call it cost of service, but it's the cost of service, the financial projections and rate setting
Yes.
for all 4 utilities.
Okay, now, who's gonna remember all 3 of those when we say make a motion? I'll make a motion that we.
Well, hold on.
What were they? There's 3, I'll hold on for a minute, but let me finish. Those 3 things, you're gonna have to repeat them because I'm not gonna remember. Okay, got it.
On the spreadsheet, the COS is cost of service, financial projections and rate setting.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
You're saying that this whole thing is integrated with the software, so you can separate it now.
So it's different modules that they put the information in that it pulls from. So you can split out the information, but one part of the information is needed for the other part. Does that make sense?
I think it would be helpful to have that, have them come contemporaneously or going forward. Get them more comfortable with their software.
Well, just to be clear, there's only one person in this room that's going to interface with that software, and that's Kim.
That's right.
Nobody else in this room is going to interface with the software. The questions that we had for them were very pointed about what we needed to get from a piece of software. They checked every single box. They understood cash flow. They understood long-term projections. They understood integrating reserve. We talked the same language.
So what else?
So I would say at this stage, some of us did watch a demo. I'm sure a demo could be arranged shortly without having to do another meeting. But as Sharon said, you know, at
Time
this
is
point,
the only
time is of
thing.
the essence at this stage, and we're not losing anything. We're not throwing our current model out. It'll be here for another year, and we'll just keep updating it. If this thing turns out to be a disaster, and Kim was lied to by the references that she's got, we didn't really throw anything out of the, system. So it feels to me like at some point, we've got to be able to move on. Kim's the one that's interfacing with the software. It's probably ultimately going to be a lot easier to interface than it is with the
Yes.
Excel spreadsheet. Except we always knew the Excel spreadsheet was not ideal.
Yes.
So this could be an incredible, but sometimes you're not going to fully know until you roll up your sleeves and get into the thing.
So the
That's just
motion
gonna
actually is, do we want to roll up our sleeves and move
take-
forward?
I think that's really it.
But that's,
Yeah.
I think we haven't gone this road in our lifetime with software and you buy it and you get into it and you look like this.
well, like the beginning, so sometimes you have to take it, and with the information that was given us, it seems to me it's the only road we should be going down.
I think
So
so.
references
I'm
were
not saying that we should not move forward. I'm just saying that we've been in enough situations where we spent hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars in software, and then we said, no, but this is not working. This is not doing it
Well,
well.
that's gonna still happen.
Well, to be, just to also be clear, this is the Raftilla's piece aside, this is the cheapest of the three proposals. So,
Oh, really?
yes, it is.
Oh, that's true.
It's, so it's like 15,000 less than Raftilla, and, it seems to be
Yeah,
head and
thanks,
shoulders
yeah.
above the current
Thanks.
system we have. So
Wait, put it that way. I'm used to spending millions of dollars on software.
it's not, that's not, we're talking 79,000 per year.
Yeah.
I mean, It's,
Right.
All right. Yeah, but still you have time and energy to make it work.
So make a motion then.
Richard, do you want to remake your motion? I liked your motion.
For, him to proceed to secure an agreement with
It will be the board,
the board,
Will.
for the board to
present to the board as a recommendation.
approve
Him to present to the
him
board.
proceeding with, all four utilities for Waterworth and just an electric review with Rafaels as soon as possible.
It'll be
So
next Wednesday.
the goal is that we can utilize the anticipated work product for the 27-28,
Yes, fiscal year 28.
as opposed to waiting another 1, 2, 3 months of additional goofing around. It'll throw us out another year.
So if presentation is October, then we should have everything worked through by December for me to start presenting budget.
Second.
Yeah.
Way to go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No, I think we like the new car smell here, so.
I want to throw one thing out. Every one of the proposals that came back was a 5-year cost of service study. In our model, we have moved to a 10-year. We know it's harder to forecast farther out, but we knew we did have some information that we wanted to capture in a framework. Waterworth can do the longer term projections. I don't actually think they charge anymore, but I would
Correct.
feel better if we, in the contract, it said 10 years instead of
Yeah,
5 years.
it's, yes, it
And then it's
is.
consistent with all of our modeling.
Yeah.
It's not clear, by the way, that our current provider can do that. Everything they seem to have is 5-year, and 5-year, and it's a frozen 5-year, which means the next year is 4-year, you only have 4 years, and the year to that, you only have 3 years.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
and the next year.
And then if anything
And then
changes,
you'd be doing it in 5 years.
It's the same thing, but just figure it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Waterworth is more of a continuous process.
Right. Yeah, well said.
Less risk of getting failed.
Right.
Thank you. Number 6.
So this is for the new operating account policy and procedure. So I went to the investment policy that we have right now.
Mhm.
I just added some wording to, page 2, section A1. There's a lot of stuff that I can get into and change, but, that's a discussion for a different time when we really get into this.
Okay.
So for collection and disbursements account, which we call the operating account commonly, I added not to exceed 1/12 of the annual operating expenses, which is that 1.5 million.
Mhm.
So on the existing policy that you have highlighted in red, those highlighted in red refer to
Yep.
what's now
The changes.
Changes.
Yep.
Yeah. Got it.
So you said not to exceed, it's pretty emphatic. So this is a policy break. If you exceed it, you need to report to the board. Give you some more comfort there. Do you need some more cushion? So anytime there's a policy break, goes to the board, right? So if you ever exceed, not to exceed 112.
So whenever, okay, so we do have the internal procedure, and I did put in there that when it exceeds, that it needs to be moved, that is checked weekly.
I'm just saying that this is the policy of the board, right? Board's approved the policy.
Yep.
So if you exceed it by 112 of an operating expense, for instance, it's a policy break, it needs to be reported to the board.
Which I could do a monthly report of that I moved this amount of money.
I think Calvin's making a good point, though. You want to give yourself a little bit of buffer, but you don't want to go crazy on this thing. We're trying to get some bounds around how much cash is sitting in a bank account. But there's 1/12, is that like exactly the right amount? And if we get a timing issue that, you guys are going to have to be careful about moving cash between the different.
Yeah, no, 1/12 is the right number.
So that was the 1.5 million.
I know.
And I'm sure there will be times that it goes over and I'll have to transfer.
You just have to be aware of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to put that in writing.
I started to say, because then you have the language right.
Yeah, so it will be not to exceed 1/12 of annual operating expenses. But then in cash and liquidity accounts, the last sentence that I added here, of all funds exceeding the collection and disbursement accounts threshold and not obligated to reserve cash account will be deposited in cash and liquidity accounts. Does that cover that? Of the policy,
Well,
to make it clear of it's not to exceed 1/12, and when it does, then it needs to go here.
The collection,
Can we just add,
Well, then you just report to the board then.
and
you done.
reporting to the board that you've done that?
Yeah.
so that,
It's
yeah,
reporting that would be in
So
full.
then I have to add that to the procedure.
so it's not that you just do it.
Right.
This might be a stupid thing, but it says do not exceed 1/12 of annual operating expenses. It might be annual projected operating expenses.
Projected,
I think
that is a good one.
Budgeted.
Budgeted.
Can't you just say cash equivalents? Like T-bills and whatever.
Well,
As opposed to liquidity account? Which one?
It says on the bottom, deposits in cash or cash equivalent. Cash equivalents being T-bills, short-term stuff.
well, Kim, here I'm a little concerned too, where it says you've got to cross that here, but the board will invest only in short-term 12 to 18-month investments. If we're in money markets, they're 3-month investments, not. So I think this is a specificity that doesn't help in the,
Not in this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
we will invest in short-term,
So that would,
high-quality
Yeah.
assets.
yeah, so that would go in there.
Don't put 12 to 18.
Yeah,
Nick,
right.
12 to 18.
Yeah, okay.
Agreed. Just short term suffices.
Yeah, and that's kind of the road that I started going down of starting to like cross out a bunch of stuff, and I was like, this isn't, like, if I go through this whole thing, we're gonna be here
I mean,
for.
Calvin was going into
Yeah.
this before, but sometimes specificity, if you get too specific, it's,
Yeah, and when
you
you're talking
something
about short term and you're talking about doing that, you can be less than 12.
Yeah, I'm not sure short.
So I don't think you need to put 12 or 8.
Yeah.
Take that out altogether.
Yeah. Generally short term and stuff.
high-quality liquid,
Yeah,
assets and money markets and all that type of stuff will fall
Right.
within that.
exactly.
So what are we
Short term CDs.
Just take out the 12 to 18 month in this,
So.
on this.
So-
Cash and cash equivalents.
But you
Well,
recommend
pick up
we're
the-
adding high
pick up the
quality
seat.
liquid.
I would say that, yeah. I would say to invest in short-term, high-quality
quality.
liquid
Yeah.
assets.
Now turn the page.
There.
And it's on there. It's on, right behind the cover. In red. That's where we
Well,
are.
that's,
Well, it
High quality.
kind of repetitive means
Yeah.
that high quality liquid investments to ensure sufficient liquidity.
Oh, I didn't mean to, that could be taken out. I didn't wordsmith the whole sentence, but, I think what we're going to be investing in this account is high quality, meaning not distressed debt. Short term, which means that means it's not going to be exposed to credit risk. Short term, which means it's not going to be exposed to interest rate risk.
Right.
And liquid,
Yes.
which means it's not going to be exposed to liquidity transformation or what's called runs on the bank, so to speak. So
Right.
So could it say,
So by
Make it
definition,
as simple
there
as-
is no crypto
Yeah.
The board will,
No crypto.
the board will invest in
High quality, short-term, high
high
quality
quality
and liquid
investments to
assets.
ensure
Yeah.
sufficient liquidity.
Yeah, and then on
I
the,
would just nix that. You're making a good point, and I think maybe I would just nix that whole last.
Can you
piece.
read that again?
Here,
Many words.
the board will only invest in short-term, high-quality liquid investments to prevent the premature sale of the purpose of covering expenditures.
There you go. That'll work too.
Just stop there.
on the last line, don't forget to put cash and cash equivalents. Cash equivalents going to be short-term, 90 days or less, so. Obviously, take it there
The
anyway.
last line,
Cash and
Give it
cash
to me.
equivalents.
can you read the whole sentence where you want to put it?
After cash, just put cash equivalents.
Are you talking about the red down here?
Instead of liquidity accounts is what you're saying.
Yeah, he's just saying take
Cash,
liquidity.
cash.
Well, the liquidity account is actually, I think
So that's the actual name.
that there
Yeah,
actually is an
the
account. It's a
It's
liquidity
money.
account.
So cash equivalent liquidity account.
Yeah, available.
No,
no,
it-
Deposit in cash.
Let's step back for a second. I think what Kim is trying to distinguish is the bank account
Yes.
versus an account, let's say it's a money market fund. So the money market fund in this case would be the liquidity account. The cash is the money, is the bank account. But we don't, as a group, we talked about this, we don't want all the millions of dollars in a bank account.
Right.
You know, so that's,
Right.
you could say deposit in the bank in a liquidity account or something if you want. Cash isn't really an account.
No,
It's a bank.
So I'm calling out what is
Yeah.
named in here,
Yeah, but you're saying deposit it.
in
We
cash
deposit it
liquidity
in.
accounts, which is this right here, this. I'm referring
Yeah,
back,
that's the title.
I'm
yeah,
referring
it's a
back to the title of the account,
Liquid-
of the account.
I get that.
I could even say will be deposited in this category.
Do they,
Well, you could change the word cash appeared. By the way, I don't like the use of the word cash oftentimes because it's a loosey-goosey term that actually has a lot of different meanings in different contexts.
So,
Economists use money, not cash, and that has a whole different sense connotations. But what you could say up here is title is bank and liquidity accounts because that is the two accounts we're talking about.
and take out cash from.
And take out the word cash.
and then we'll change that down here.
Yeah.
To bank and
Well,
liquidity.
no.
Cash and bank account.
All I'm suggesting is that if you put cash equivalents, then you open up more than just a bank account, right? Then you open up, you can do short-term investments. You can
Well, that's
do
what that is what the
That's right.
liquidity account is. That's exactly what that is.
The liquidity account is defined as.
So that is
It's very
cash
little
equivalent. That is a
money.
cash equivalent.
Yeah, that's money.
Liquidity is cash
Short-term.
equivalent.
Yes.
Yes, it's very available money.
And the auditor would put that in the stuff that's in there would be in our cash equivalent.
Just as long as liquidity account, same thing as cash equivalent.
It is what it is.
So,
Well, then we're fine.
so we're gonna change. It's either bank and liquidity accounts or cash equivalent and liquidity accounts.
I would say
Just
that.
to
I
make
would
it,
put it bank, I would put bank and
Okay.
nobody else.
so,
See bank, see cash. I will see cash, but
That's from an accountant
Too
standpoint.
much confusion.
okay. So I have my changes.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Maybe I'm just not catching. So this whole section, it's also listing, number one is the cash accounts. Do we need to change
Yeah, you're
that?
gonna have to wordsmith it.
And reserve cash as well.
You're gonna have to wordsmith it.
Oh, yeah, right.
Not to be done here.
Once you do it,
Yeah,
once you mess with it, then you got the whole thing.
we should back cash.
So what I'm changing for this purpose of this procedure, under collection and disbursement accounts,
Mhm.
where it starts reading red, not to exceed 1/12 of budgeted annual operating expenses.
Yep.
Okay. The next section, where it says cash and liquidity accounts, I'm changing that to bank and liquidity accounts.
Okay, keep going.
The section where I start my red line, the board will only invest in short-term, high-quality liquid investments to prevent their premature sale for the purpose of covering expenditures.
High quality.
Yeah, she.
I don't have.
Oh, and prevent their premature sale. What's that mean?
That we're not investing in long-term tools that we're gonna lose money.
Well, we already said that cash equivalent and equivalent are the same, right? So by definition, it's gonna be less than 90 days.
By the way, the cash equivalent can be longer than 90 days, but I don't,
Because
in an audited thing, yeah.
It's,
you want to see it in 90 days.
But I'm a little bit worried, this doesn't make sense to me, prevent the premature sale for purposes of, I would get rid of that. Who's preventing, you can premature sell a 1 month T-bill or a 10-year treasury bond, you know?
Oh, sure, especially treasury.
What you're trying to do is prevent premature
Yeah,
loss.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, if it's premature loss, then it should say that, but it's
Well,
not.
it's short term anyway, so premature was it? I mean, you buy it and then 30 days later you sell it.
I don't understand it.
All right.
Maybe
Pick
it's
it up.
so what are we making that sentence?
And prevent loss when not, how
I
about
think
not
we
even
should-
have premature in there at all?
Yeah, I would take that out altogether.
Prevent.
I think they want to end the sentence at investments, Kim.
Yeah, we're not trying to prevent.
The
premature
board will
sale.
only invest in short-term, high-quality liquid investments, period, and get rid of the rest?
Yes,
I'm not about
Yeah,
to
I agree with
rewrite
that.
this.
and that short-term
Sure,
investment should be
getting
short
needed.
face value in sufficient amounts. That's not useful. I would take that out.
Yeah.
The all funds,
Short-term investments should mature.
oh, yeah, no,
Basically,
right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Agree.
so it's gonna read, the board will only invest in short-term, high-quality liquid investments. All funds exceeding the collection and disbursement accounts threshold and not obligated to the reserve cash account will be deposited in bank and liquidity accounts.
Yes.
Okay.
As my Mexican workers like to say on my
Yeah.
job. See.
Your Spanish for the day?
Spanish for the
Are
day.
you looking to have the board approve this? Then
Yes.
we need to recommend language to change the cash. What do you want to put there? Because you can't call it reserve cash account.
Should be.
Should that be vague as well?
No, that's a reserve account.
Reserve?
Yeah, that's how.
That's a different cash though.
But it's not even-
Cash account.
The reserve
No,
account
reserve,
is not a cash account. The reserve account is investing in equities and bonds. It's got a whole bunch
it's a
of stuff
whole
in it. It's not a
combination
cash
of
account.
stuff.
Okay.
So
I would leave
cash
that
account
alone.
should end here, and then there should be a number 2. So number 1 says cash account,
Mhm.
Right.
and that should be
Number
divided
2 should
into
be reserve
2 parts.
accounts.
And then number 2 would be reserve accounts, which would be,
Exactly.
Well, you said 3 parts here. Cash divided.
Yeah,
into
that
3
should be-
parts.
it'll be 2 parts now. Of
It has two different
collection and
accounts.
disbursement accounts and bank and liquidity accounts. And then number 2 would be investment accounts, long-term and short-term investment accounts.
What are you talking?
We're just gonna call it reserve
Reserve.
account.
That's just.
Okay.
Yep, just
I
take out
thought
cash.
it was
Okay.
because she said that.
This is where this word cash is confusing.
Yeah.
Cash is an instrument,
Yeah.
like a dollar bill, and it's also being used loosely in here as a bank account. Like it's got a lot of different meanings. I'm trying to get this thing to be clear. What are we talking about?
Well, just think of it in terms of somebody just picking this up. Well, how would they understand cash?
But we need to
We're
tear
not
this,
the only ones
we need to
that
tear this
do
whole
it.
thing
That's the content.
up.
So if
But right
we
now-
have this section to the board, a lot of our other policies come with a definition section. This does not have one.
Oh, then that's easy.
All right, well. you want to-
That was done before that. I made these changes.
Yeah. So it just isn't an emergency. Can this be wordsmithed outside this meeting and then
Yeah.
brought back?
So we want to do a whole,
Even if you just want to do this, but because I think there was question on exactly what short term, what is cash. So, and I think definitions would be helpful.
I agree.
Touche.
Yeah.
okay.
Agreed.
So can we?
Agreed.
So this is gonna
We can
be
bring it back.
Yeah,
brought back.
Agreed.
If we have any questions on this, we can ask.
If you have suggestions, send them
Yeah.
prior to, that way we can. work on
And
it.
when I bring this back, are we talking about the whole thing or just this section still?
You're gonna have to look at the whole thing.
we haven't looked at anything else with this. So.
I would think as Sharon said,
Wait,
the
wait.
the sections that refer to this.
How, what was the purpose of putting operating account balance and the excess funds on the agenda?
So
What was the purpose for that? Is that something that can be discussed and you need to continue operating internally while there is a larger issue of the
Clarity.
policy, which it makes, I mean, that's a huge change. Or is it possible to do some kind of resolution that attaches to the policy until the policy changes? Is what's valuable about this?
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
to tighten up how much money we're actually keeping in operating account when we could be making more money elsewhere and not putting us at risk to have all that money in the account.
Do we need that
And
separately now? Would that be helpful? And just say this is a proposal that we would like the board to approve. Separate from the major
Just the
task of
procedure?
going over this whole
just the
policy.
procedure
Yes.
to be,
Tell them what we're working on.
So it's a standalone, redoing of, whatever the words are, then.
so the policy would be what the board is going to approve. The procedure is an internal,
You put on some policy.
yes, is what I'm gonna do internally
Mm-hmm.
that I would say is just gonna be reviewed by us
As I said,
So,
as opposed to the board voting on
And
a
you're,
procedure that we're doing
And
administrative.
you're referring to terms in here that are in the policy,
Yeah.
so this can't.
Yeah.
We'll put both these together.
so in answer to your question, that's just for us here. I don't see how that would be clear.
Yeah, that wouldn't.
Has
go to
no
the board.
relevance.
That is something
Absolutely.
internal. So when we bring new people on, new hires, we say, hey, this is how we do it. If you need to reference.
Yeah,
This
this
is
is
the
not a
procedure.
board thing.
Yeah,
okay, so we don't need a motion, we don't
no, we're gonna come
need
back.
a reference that we discussed this, other than the minutes will show that we discussed this. And, concluded that this is an internal, modification
Yeah.
procedure.
So we're really just trying to tighten up the procedure of what we're doing.
But I think this has to be revised in accordance with the changes that we make to the policy.
Yes.
That can be done sequentially
Right.
and not
Yeah.
impair progressing with this internal. Okay.
Whole thing coming back.
Okay.
That's gonna be an hour discussion by itself.
And we already did that. To be continued.
7.
The existing, Fulton operating account terms and agreements. So there was a request to understand exactly what we have with Fulton and how we are protected. That is in your packet. There is a 30-page terms and agreement.
Oh, yeah, please.
It's really.
Yeah.
They're already working.
Alvin and I did meet with, Fulton to go over
Oh,
the
good.
agreements.
Good.
We didn't see anything,
It is what it is.
monumental, anything, red flags or anything like that.
The agreements are pretty much standard for Metro County.
Yeah.
There's all provisions here, arbitration. Blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, all standard stuff.
Yeah.
In most agreements.
And, we did, provide some information of what actually that we're in is government interest checking for our account. 7C is our vault system. This is online of, the programs that we have. And the only changes that we'll have to do to that is if we change the people on the system, which we are not.
Mhm.
7D is our, performance statement. So you can actually see what fees we are paying and how much that costs each month. And then 7E is the letter from Fulton about our collateralization for our, government account. They currently have a letter of credit with the Federal Home Loan Bank of Pittsburgh for $90 million. That is for Delaware government accounts only. So their current deposit amount after FDIC insurance is about 73.5 million. They have a letter of credit for 90 million to cover any large transactions that might happen before they do a new analyst of getting a new letter of credit. So essentially that means that they have the letter of credit with the Federal Home Loan Bank. And then if they fail, we have to contact them and say, hey, we need our money. And then they give us our money, and then they go and hold Fulton responsible for paying them
Oh,
back.
I see. I see.
Can Kim and I also independently met with Fulton and got into some of the details of this. I just want to give people a sense for what's going on here. Banks are only that have FDIC insurance are only insured up to 250,000. So
Okay.
banks have tried to figure out ways around that. One of the ways they do it is if you have $1 million in there, they can actually take that 750,000 excess and they can send it out to other banks. So they almost set you up little accounts all over the place that are all under 250,000. Generally seems to work. Vanguard even offers it now to their retail clients. But it feels to me like it gets a little messy, and you got $10 million with all broken up all little accounts. You know, I get nervous.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
There's like 40 accounts.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So another thing these guys have done is they've given you yet another option. So there's something called the Federal Home Loan Bank. It was one of the government-sponsored entities that was set up back in the Depression. There's a whole bunch of them: Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Ginnie Mae, all that stuff. You guys have probably heard of them.
Yes.
They all have implied guarantees from the government, but they don't have explicit guarantees from the government. So they become political footballs sometimes during times of real stress in the marketplace. So the Federal Home Loan Bank system has 11 little branches, and one of them is in Pittsburgh, and that's the one that Fulton uses. So Fulton has, as Kim said, a letter of credit from the Federal Home Loan Bank of Pittsburgh. If Fulton goes under and they have obligations from, in our case, a government entity that fall under this line of this letter of credit, the Federal Home Loan Bank of Pittsburgh will make good on that. So that's the good news.
Yes.
That's if Fulton goes under. The problem oftentimes that we see is in the system itself. If the system goes down, like it did in the 2008-2009 financial crisis, and the actual government-sponsored entities also become under massive strain, I think Fannie and Freddie actually went under conservatorship, then they become real political footballs. And I get a little bit worried about this because the government does not have an explicit, the word federal on there, it's not a public organization. Actually, the owners of the Federal Home Loan Bank are the banks that are in that program. They're the equity holders in that program. But the Federal Home Loan Bank has this implicit, but not explicit, guarantee from the federal government that if they ever went under, the federal government would make up all their debts. And I'm not, that worries me a little bit. So I want to separate the decisions that we have to make here. A bank, by its nature, is a highly levered organization. They have some of the highest leverage in the entire system, way more than you would see in an industrial company or a utility or anything like that. They have very little equity cushion and a huge amount of borrowing, and then they buy assets, mortgages, and things like that. The Federal Home Loan Bank is itself a very highly levered organization, and they go out in the market and they borrow. So what you really have is a highly levered organization, Fulton, having a guarantee from another highly levered organization, Federal Home Loan Bank, that has an implicit but not an explicit guarantee from the federal government that if disaster really strikes, it's going to be okay. And they're going, a money market mutual fund. A mutual fund itself is a company. Each one of them are set up as their own company, and they have their own board. And the board is there, just like any board of a company is there for the shareholders' benefit. Every mutual funds are not allowed to borrow. They can buy debt, but they can't borrow to buy things. So a mutual fund has zero leverage. If you think about a balance sheet, I think everybody here is comfortable with the balance sheet. The funding side of a mutual fund is all equity funded. In other words, it's your shareholders.
Yeah.
There's no debt on that side. If you look at Fulton's balance sheet, their funding side is like 80% debt, and then they have some equity cushion. The mutual funds are highly regulated, and they don't have even an implicit government guarantee, but they're only allowed, the government version of the money market mutual fund is only allowed to invest in very restricted short-term government securities. So the whole entire asset side of their balance sheet is 1 month treasury bills, 3 month treasury, it's that kind of stuff. So for the money market to go under, the government would have to quit paying on those assets. But Fulton's balance sheet on their asset side is mortgages they've lent out, stuff to company, credit, all that kind of stuff. And so their balance sheet is much less stable,
Higher risk,
higher risk
Sure.
than the balance sheet of a money market
because
mutual
they tend
fund.
to be defaulted.
That's right. So what they've done to try to get around it is they said, well, we'll pull all these together and we'll create this thing called the Federal Home Loan Bank System, and they'll make good if we go under. And then the Federal Home Loan Bank says, well, you know what, if we go under, we have an implicit guarantee from the government that they'll make. So there's these layers.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the money market, the government money market mutual fund, I think basically solves our problem without all this overlay. It's not a perfect vehicle either. There is no perfect vehicle. I want to be clear. Even a money market mutual fund can potentially have a run on itself. People could ask to get too many people could ask to get the money pulled out faster than they can sell it.
Right.
But for me, and this is just a voice of one, we're going to have millions and millions and millions of dollars of this cash and cash equivalents. We either leave it all to Fulton and it has this implicit guarantee from the Federal Home Loan Bank, or we take a big chunk of it and we put it in a money market mutual fund, but a special version of it, just the government one, the one that doesn't invest in short-term corporate securities and all, it only does government securities.
So I did split this up between 7 and 8 on the
I'm sorry.
agenda. 7 is what we already have. So we have the letter of credit from the bank and the agreements. And then number 8 starts talking about money market and liquidity options.
By the way, there's no fee that we can ascertain from the Fulton process.
So good.
They basically take your money. If we give them $10 million, they take your money and they invest it in mortgages or whatever they do, whatever the bank lends out to.
Well, let's talk about the interest.
And then they will pay us.
Yeah.
They will pay us whatever the federal funds rate is minus 10 basis points.
But let's
But the money market mutual fund will get a whole bunch of assets. They'll buy all these 1 month T-bills, 3 month T-bills, and they'll generate a return off of that. We will get all that return minus 18 basis points if we go with UBS, or minus 11 basis points if we go with Vanguard. That's their fee for running that money. But basically, they're passing through what they're earning on the assets. That's not what Fulton's doing.
Well, that's not true, because we also have another option, though, fully, with all due respect, and that's this IntraFi. I'm aware of that product from 25, 30 years ago. It used to be called Cedars. What they did was they created the software, basically, and its roots are in time deposit. People had millions of dollars in time deposit. They were concerned, especially businesses. They were very concerned about the FDIC limit of 250. So Cedars came out with this time deposit product, and they said, listen, we have the books and records. We're only going to keep 250 FDIC insured up to that balance in this particular bank. Then we're going to broker out centrally the other 9,750,000 to other institutions all throughout.
And then 40 other little accounts. We talked about that.
Right. But they're all FDIC insured. So it's just an exchange. So the other banks then will deposit money from their customers with the same kind of scenario. So Hilton has our 10 million, but it's going out to these 40 other institutions, and these other institutions are then coming back.
Right.
And so in Fulton's books, they have BPW 250. These other banks will have Fulton 250. It's all FDIC insured up to 250. And it's a network situation where we're told, we asked the question, if Fulton goes under, how soon can we get the money back? And they said typically 48 hours, we can get the money back. It's all FDIC insured. This is a new product, basically, 10 years or so, where they moved from time deposits to now these demand deposit accounts or savings accounts. But its roots go back 25, 30 years. So that's another option. The option also, too, we can do that both on the demand side, and we can do it on the savings side, on the money market side with Fulton, if you want to go that route. And they said would be, Fed funds minus 10 basis points for both products. So we're
And what they are offering, we originally contacted them about money market and they were at 3.29. While we were getting 3.56 already in UBS, and then Vanguard was doing the 3.65, and that's last meeting we decided it wasn't worth creating a whole new.
How old is these? How old is this? Are these interest rates?
They're
Because
from
they change. I mean, are these?
last month or the month before, I can't remember when we talked about it, it was March or April. But, so after we decided that we were just gonna stick with UBS instead of creating a new relationship with Vanguard for an extra $9,000 a year, Fulton came back. I told Fulton that we went elsewhere, and they're like, well, is there a reason that you're looking for this? And I told them that we're looking to transfer money out to have a liquidity account and make higher interest, and then we can move it back in if we need it. And then they proposed a high interest government account of 3.65 that it would be immediately liquid. It wouldn't actually be going into a money market that you have to wait 1 to 2 days to get the money. And it was a better interest rate. So
So to be clear, just because we've talked about all this stuff, but it might be getting, the stuff that Calvin just mentioned was the first thing we talked about. That'll break your account up into 30, 40 different pieces and put it all over. That's one place. The second place, hang on, Calvin. The second place is this government interest checking account. This is the one where they have the letter of credit from the Federal Home Loan Bank. That's actually the one they were kind of trying to push us towards. That's the one that they weren't offering us any good deal until Kim called them up and said, we got competition now. And then they came back and said 3.65, but ultimately it's going to end up to be the federal funds rate minus 10 basis points. The third option, so one option is we break the bank account up into 40 different pieces.
Right.
The second option is we all leave it with Fulton, but they have this implicit guarantee from the government to the Federal Home Loan Bank. The third option is you just go into a government money market fund. Those are three distinct options.
Yeah.
For me, it's pretty clear, but this has got to be there should be a vote on this, but those are the three options.
So
All three of them are probably pretty safe. I only worry because I've been in the market long enough to worry about those massive stress events like in 2008, 2009, that the whole entire thing shuts down and it gets very political. And so
It was
I
2008.
just want to be careful. What's that?
It was 2008.
Yeah, 2008, 2009, it's bad.
Yeah.
And so
I lost big money.
the money market mutual fund, the government version of that has solved almost all these problems. There's other options, as Calvin said, but
Well, just to be clear, I mean, the notion that 40, these accounts are at 40 different places,
No,
it's all behind the scenes. If you want to go with the Fulton tomorrow, I want my $10 million, you need $10 million. It's all software driven, books and records are there. If the bank shuts down, I know what happens, 6 o'clock on Friday, bank shuts down. They look at the FDIC looks at the books and records, Monday morning, the bank's open.
there's no way it could be hacked or anything like that. They would shut it down, for a couple of weeks while they try to figure out the ledger because the bank is being held. Everything has its risks and strengths. I just,
Mm-hmm. I mean, the only experience I've had is when the savings went under. Sometimes I was in Mexico, and when I came back, I saw these people standing outside of my bank.
Yeah.
And I said, what the hell's going on? And I realized that the bank was shut down, so I had to get on the line to get the money out. And then I had to run into the problem where you can't keep this much money because the government's going to do, so it's like, if you haven't been through it, it's been a trip.
Well, we asked them, Paul, that they were experienced. We didn't ask Intrify. Probably have to call it Intrify. But have you been in a situation where, in fact, a bank did shut down? These deposits, and was there any problems? Yes, Republic shut down. You said, and there had been no problem getting.
There was a ton of banks that went down. Your Silicon Valley Bank shut down.
well, he's specifically the person on the call.
Yeah, he was.
The issue was from the
money was there.
bank, and he saw it.
Yeah, he was insured.
Yeah.
The money is there.
Where it's dispersed is a whole different ballgame, but the money was there.
Yeah. You go to your one bank and you got the money,
Right.
they tie into the thing.
You could also disperse it 2 or 3 ways. If you want it.
I'm sorry, one more time.
You could
Disperse it through.
choose all three or two of the three.
Yeah.
Put somebody with Fulton Bank, somebody with, a money market government
Do we
fund.
have anybody on our staff who's going to monitor that?
Yeah, right now, Robin is the man.
Well,
There's times to make things complicated.
Yeah,
This is kind of low, in my mind, this is
Yeah.
low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
don't make it any more complicated
I
than it
tend
needs
to
to be.
agree that it gets, the money market mutual, government mutual fund tends to do it. But, you know, having two sources of immediate cash is also not a bad thing.
Well, you got more than that. You've got a line of credit,
You got three.
you've got a bank account, and you've got these liquidity accounts.
Well, what's easiest for you? I mean, if you were to put things in Fulton with this, with the interest checking, high interest checking, and the money market,
It'll be in one place.
And that's the point. He's right. What's easiest?
and then you can draw one from the other with a moment's notice. Money-
Yes, that's why they came up with this option of that it was immediately available instead of having to go to a money market account and draw. That's, that was after I gave them the feedback, that's what they came back with. And they did,
You comfortable with?
they did say that they can go back for the government money market and get exception rates. And they also pretty plainly said that they know that they're not going to compete with UBS, that's being Fulton Bank,
Mhm.
but they are personalized, local, coming here, having meetings. I like Fulton, and I think that they are.
They've been around a long time.
I think they're taking the steps to protect the money. It's really just a question of how we want to invest, if we want to do a money market or earn the same amount in a savings account.
So are we,
Means a money
How
market.
come UBS has a zero
No.
down here?
Okay, a money market mutual fund,
Yes,
How come UBS has a zero down here for fees?
not a money market deposit account.
UBS,
zero.
Right here. Their fees.
It's a few basis.
Oh, it's because I never updated it. It's 18. It's 18 basis
so if the decision is made
18 basis points is the fee.
and
for UBS.
UBS.
if the decision is made and it is later on decided that that may not be the best decision, is there options to be able to come back and rethink and adjust?
Sorry, what was that?
Sure.
If you don't like the decision, come back and or whatever.
yeah, girls have options.
I would.
I just want to make sure you're not locked in.
Well, you know, like,
So UBS is out of the picture at 18 basis points.
No,
right?
UBS and Vanguard, that's their final numbers is 356 and 365. So they're 9 basis points off of each other after fees.
Oh, this is.
Yeah, that's net.
okay.
And when we did the comparison of $10 million, it was $9,000 of a difference. Is that worth opening up a whole new account with Vanguard but with Fulton, we already have the relationship.
Okay.
So your recommendation is to open up the government savings account and checking account, or having two bank checking accounts?
You're happy staying with both.
Yeah, I personally like Fulton and I see that they're making the effort to tailor something to us.
Ken, the one thing I'd say about that, and I know you feel that way, but you had millions of dollars in that account. They never came to you with this great idea to get you more
Why
money.
would they?
You had to go to them and say, I have another option, I'm putting this money, and then they got into a panic and came around.
Well, UBS did the same thing.
I'm not saying I'm not defending UBS either. What I'm trying to say is these guys aren't necessarily the good guys here. You basically told them you're going to pull the money, and they found a solution that they should have proactively came to you with,
I
not
totally
reactively.
agree with that.
That's how the
They had,
folks.
no, I know, I agree.
I don't disagree,
That's kind of why our,
I'm only responding
Good
that
point.
this notion that they're a good, they're trying to do the best for us, they're good.
no, they're not.
They don't have the fiduciary role that an investment manager would have for you. They've got a profit statement.
Yeah.
And until you went and pushed them, they're not coming back with solutions.
They're not gonna make
Sweet
suggestions.
you will against the low force, right?
Go ahead, Bob. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
I think having a keeping Fulton for a while and the government money market fund for some significant amount of it makes a lot of sense. Fulton knows you've got an option. You can call them up once a year and badger them, and you see how it goes for a while. But
What about what you just said in regards to Fulton?
I think Fulton is out to make money for the bank.
How about the concept that he said that never ever bringing it up? Had you not brought it up to that, they would not have brought
I
it.
think that's not a good thing for Fulton. Okay, if you want to give Fulton a bouquet, it's, hey, we went to the home loan bank and got greater guarantees.
Well,
Oh, sure.
let me tell you my personal experience with UBS. Okay, now when I came on, let's think of the Smithsonian. Wait a minute. When I came into the city, okay, there was a finance group, but not a finance group in the sense of getting into what the money was.
Mhm.
Were you in the previous one before I came in? No, right? Okay, so anyway, my point is that the money was just dormant. You know, nobody ever thought of, how about somebody look at this? Okay, by the same token, UBS has been there since dirt. Okay, every opportunity in the world to make a presentation or some kind of suggestion. So I bring the guy and I said to him, don't give me boilerplate crap. I don't want that. I want specifics so that I have something to discuss with folks as it relates to what kind of money we have. Because they'll give you this is what the market's doing today, and a whole book of a whole bunch of stuff, and you're like, throw that away. And we went down to give me a sheet of paper, tell me what we're doing here and where we stand. And we made our decision. So my point is, you build these things forever. Either they become comfortable or they become complacent. But the bottom line is that just because they're doing that doesn't mean they're our best options.
I don't think they are.
Okay, because you got to get out of the box at some point.
Just to be clear, though,
Look at other things.
Fulton's not doing anything wrong. They're a profit-seeking organization. That's the way they work. I never pushed back on Kim because she's fantastic, but this was one where they're only doing you a favor because you went and told me you're going to pull
That's what I'm
money.
saying.
If they're your buddy, they'd be proactive. They're not your buddy. It's an arm's length transaction.
You know what? They've been put on notice, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that's
They
common,
would put on those.
at least with my experience, like when UBS, when we
I
started
agree.
asking
I
about
agree.
their fees, then all of a sudden our fees dropped by
Yeah.
7 basis
Yeah.
points.
That's exactly it.
I think that's just across the board that you have to,
That's what I said. There's nothing wrong with Fulton. They're all doing it. Never think they're your friends. You've been there for.
But you have to stay on
Yeah.
top of them. And if you know, if you guys have come 1,000 miles away from where you were when I came into the city. I mean, this is like so damn good. That's why I'm staying on it.
yeah. I always think,
But I'm serious, and it's true. Because nobody was paying attention. The money was just kind of there.
Yeah.
Nobody even perceived doing anything. So at this point, it's nice to be comfortable with, but be sure there are other options. There are other things to look at. You can roll with and be comfortable with the same people for eternity. But if they don't once in a while hit your doorstep and say, how we doing?
Yeah.
Or did you think of so-and-so? I mean, that's just my personal feeling, you know.
I think I don't think we're going to prompt them to do that. I think we need to be prompted and possibly get a regular scheduled
Yeah, agree.
call with them to sit, or you all to say, look, we want to have a conversation. We're here we are where we're at.
And don't come in
Once
with
a
a
quarter, or
boilerplate.
once every
Right.
6 months, or whatever it is, to
Yeah.
have a conversation, because sometimes
It's
we
on
need
us.
one to prompt
Yeah.
instead of them prompt, because it may not happen. Because
Yeah.
we're one of probably thousands of, people they deal with, when it comes to money and investments or whatever. So it might be up to
I'd
us
like
to
to make a
do that.
motion because it's 12 o'clock in lunchtime.
It is.
So question before,
Oh,
the 90 million on 7E.
Yeah.
how long does that last?
70.
It's 70.
Does it?
So I am not sure how often they update that number, but I know they do an analyst to see if that needs to go up or down.
And would we be, do we make a contract for this or, some kind of agreement that, yeah, we want to sign on to this?
So this is what they're doing already.
Okay,
This is how they're protecting our money right now that we have in the bank,
okay,
If you're in the government interest checking account.
which we are.
okay, okay, fine,
Yeah.
that helps.
It's collateralized by this line, right?
Fine, so we have this letter of credit, if you will.
Yeah.
All right, and we're using it and it's been in place for a while.
Yes.
And I offer to send us conforms on better updates.
Yes.
But I don't.
So it's also, just to be distinct, it's not a line of credit, it's a letter of credit.
Or I say money, but
Well, no, we're all saying,
Yeah.
those two words get,
Yes.
mixed up easily.
it's a lot.
It's a different animal altogether.
Absolutely, it's not. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I'd like to make a motion
Okay.
that we open up 2 accounts with Fulton, the hydro checking, which we have, and either another hydro checking or a money market account. All of these accounts are to have FDIC insurance for all of the funds within them. I think that would be safe. It reduces the administrative burden. It transfers money almost instantaneously from one account to the other if we need to.
That stipulation, by the way, only puts us in the interquy. That's the only option to do that, to
Exactly.
get you FDIC insurance. So you're really asking for us to go through that, parse it out into 40 different bank accounts.
Yeah, you know what, Mike, system's been in place for 25 years. I'm
A lot of things go under Calvin, and that's a very system-oriented thing. If somebody gets hacked, that would be my worry. That system doesn't function like it should.
boy. Okay, we made a motion. Then our medical system would go in ruins if those gets hacked, and because there are
Well, you were around,
thousands of banks are in the system.
you were around in 08, 09. It did. I was also around during the savings and loan crisis. These are serious.
I've been.
No, I'm
as well.
kind of like, unless for some reason we have to make a decision today, there's some things we still need to talk about here, guys, because I'm not really feeling what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, I understand it. Been there for a long time, and I understand the comfortableness of what you're talking about, spreading all everything, but I'm not sure I'm gonna roll with you on this.
So
And I want to make sure that I'm old school. I want to make sure I'm hearing everything I need to hear. So when I give you an answer, I feel good myself that that's how I feel. Yeah.
Perspective.
And it's okay. Is this something that has to be decided? Are we on a timeline here?
It does not need to be decided today.
That's just my personal.
Yeah.
Well, what do you need to get comfortable?
I'm not really sure. I'm hearing what you're saying with Fulton. I know that you've been with Fulton forever. And I'm saying, is it because you're comfortable, or is it because you think that, you can spread it all the other accounts, but everybody can do that? What is it that you can give me that makes me feel that we should stay with Fulton?
One, I think it's the fact that from an administrative perspective, I think Kim has just told us that it will be easier with having both accounts in one place. You can move money instantaneously between accounts, if you need to. And the fact that it has FDIC insurance for every dollar we have in there.
Another,
5 million. The system, we're going to Intrify, am I correct? But the system has been in place for decades. And I'm just basing it on my 40+ years of experience in the financial
that's
service.
good enough for me.
Yeah, and I do lean that way of the Fulton, but I didn't feel strongly enough about it to actually put the suggestion on there. But I enjoy Fulton. I like their personalization. I like that they're local. I like that they answer every time that I call.
That's simply.
As opposed to where UBS is for the money market, that I get emails occasionally,
I'm not a UBS person.
updated
so I'll tell you that
reports, and here's your quarterly. If you want a meeting, let me know.
I know, I know about that.
Yeah.
So if I'm doing a comparison to them, it's not
Yeah.
a problem for me.
If they sold some little goods in 6 months, we get rid of them. Or a year.
Mr. Curtis, I want to pretend like I'm legal. We had a motion, we need a second or no motion.
Oh, no, I know you're legal, and I know
Well, then I'm pretending.
just in case, I know that.
Is there a
second that
second?
needs to be done.
No, I'm not gonna second.
Okay.
Or I could second, but I'm gonna vote no.
So there's-
That's why I said,
Okay.
do we really
So,
want,
so then the motion fails. If there is not a second, then the motion fails. Just for the record.
are you voting down there? How about you, down there?
I mean,
Just yes or no, baby?
no.
Okay.
Second.
Then that, we can't go any further with this way.
So then.
So we are staying with UBS, money market. Do you want this brought back at all, or are we staying with UBS?
We do have to write a cash policy, so we're gonna have to come to some kind of agreement, because right now we don't have a cash policy. So the question is, what do we do when we're above 1/12
Mhm.
of an annual projected bank account? And right now,
And we don't have a policy on
we don't
it.
have a formal policy, so right now, Kim swept it into the money market fund in the liquidity account.
The policy right now states that the board understands that operational needs happen, that sometimes we have excess, sometimes we have shortage, that we can change it as we need. That's all it says. It doesn't say that we shouldn't keep more money than we need in this account, or, and that's what we're trying to tighten up, is how much we're actually keeping in there and where we're investing, what we're taking out.
The reason we originally went down this path was because we recognized that we were gonna have a lot of cash, and no one wanted it in just a general checking account, so we wanted to make sure we understood options. I still feel personally that the government-oriented money market mutual fund is the better vehicle for us, but I do understand that it does increase a burden on Kim to make sure she's moving money back and forth. Calvin likes the IntraFi, that's fine, it's been around for a long time. I'm not saying it will ever be in trouble. I just, the problem when crises hit is a lot of times it stresses things where you never realized they were stressed. The other version, they weren't pushing IntraFi, which was breaking up everything under the $250,000 limit. They were actually pushing the Federal Home Loan Bank option where they had the letter of credit. That's what they wanted us to do. So we've got those three options out there. I don't really know how to rectify it. We've kind of talked them all out to death. Maybe everybody in here has a different view. It might be interesting just to go around and say, what option? Look, we wouldn't get rid of Fulton. They're still going to be the bank.
That's right.
So they're going to have $1.5 million or whatever just to meet this 1/12 of our projected budget. The question is, what do we do with the other 9 or 10 or 11 or 12 million that's above that? I think Calvin would like to go IntraFi. That's fine. It's a viable option, and plenty of people do it. Bob, do you have enough information of those three options that make sense for you?
I do half IntraFi and half government money market.
Calvin, or I'm sorry,
Oh,
Richard.
Can I ask a question here?
Yeah.
So are we just talking about the 1.5 million?
No, this is
No,
everything
no,
above
no,
you
no,
can have.
no,
How about everything?
Like 4 and 5.
So right now, I am transferring to the money market account.
I know. We're trying to figure out if we can come to agreement so we can write a policy statement. So I'm just trying to figure out where everybody is.
But if it's the money market account, do they offer IntraFi for the money market
No,
account?
they don't. You don't need it for them. So
Yeah, so if I,
IntraFi is an option, Federal Home Loan Bank is an option, or the money market's an option. They're three distinct options that are unrelated to each other.
right,
So my recommendation is to go with Bolton, the high interest checking, which we
Yes.
have now. And then.
and get rid of UBS,
And then a savings
money
account,
market.
a money market deposit account, or another high interest checking account, that's 3.65 for the balance, which is all FDIC insured.
So
Which is-
Your thing just say totally with full.
wait a minute, the 3.65 is not the IntraFi. The 3.65 is in the Federal Home Loan Bank.
No, 3.65 is in fact in the money market deposit account for the high interest checking.
It's in the Federal Home Loan Bank.
No, I'm talking about Bolton.
I know, I am too. The government interest checking account
Right.
is the one we have the letter of credit.
It's
from the Federal Home Loan
collateralized,
Bank.
collateralized by
The IntraFi is a totally different program.
When you
But
sign
what you got the 3.65 on, it was for the government interest account that's got the Home Loan Bank board sitting over it.
Yes.
That's a whole different system.
No, he's just totally talking about,
Products. So it's just investing that extra money, they will increase our percentage to 3.65 because of the new money. And then to protect that money, we can either keep the letter of credit or do the IntraFi.
It's the same account.
Yeah, that's not the way I took it. I think there were two different things, and I think we should check.
see, that's why I'm saying, guys,
I'm comfortable.
Yeah, it's just how we're protecting our money of either letter of credit or IntraFi. And we can even do that for the
Good
one
place.
point 5 million of, do we keep it for the letter of credit? Or do we use intra-5 for?
But if there's any confusion, just should,
Yes,
as Carolyn said, should we clarify that?
Absolutely.
So the
Before
question,
a decision's made.
yeah, the
knowing-
question is, do you want me to just go and verify through email, phone call?
Yeah.
Or do you, okay,
Just with Paul or
In any event,
We've already done
is
that.
UBS now going out of the picture? I thought I've heard,
not at this moment.
Right.
If we were to transfer, we would be transferring the UBS money market
Right.
account to the high interest government Fulton account.
and then UBS is out of the picture.
We still have the reserve account with them.
Well, the thing is, too, what we can talk about, if we go with Fulton two accounts, one in the high interest checking account, 3.65, if there's the insured.
Mhm.
And then we put the other monies into a Fulton money market deposit account, 3.65, if there's insured. Our fees actually go down.
That's a good thing.
Our checking fees go down because we don't have that much money in the checking account anymore. And so the money market deposit account doesn't have the same kinds of fees that the high interest checking does. So our fees of $2,000 a month or so,
Yeah.
those will actually come down.
Yes, because it's all going.
And you have the whole method of managing the account, moving money instantaneously between accounts.
So I'm gonna verify in writing that Calvin and I understand correctly what we're telling you. And we'll bring it back or
Well, how about subject to, bring it back, we have another meeting next month. How soon do you want this?
I feel like we need to have a meeting each month with all the outdated policies and
Yes, we do.
everything that we have,
Of course we did.
but
Does,
But we're not gonna
does
make a
postponing
decision.
this particular discussion
Well,
have any,
we're just gonna
Outside.
continue what we're doing.
I think Mike started to try to get a sense as to where we are and where the roadblocks are. I think Mike was a little confused about what he
Well,
heard from
it's better
Fulton.
to do
Yeah.
that then.
Or it wasn't clear what he heard from Fulton, right? And where it just came out and what we heard.
Yeah, let's stop it
Yeah.
here.
Okay. Okay, and there's only one thing left, which was the audit update. They are going through our general ledger information. They
Yeah.
have picked a couple of test, categories, but not all of them.
What are they?
And they do not want to share it until they have it all, because they don't want to share the answers before they have the questions.
Will they tell you which ones they're testing?
Not yet, until they decide everything.
Oh, okay. That's okay. Then we're done now. Right. Make a motion. Unless you got something to say.
what about,
Oh, we did.
agenda items for future?
We just had one.
Thing was
Put that back on.
dead policy.
The one we just finished.
We're gonna
Back
bring
on.
back the, finance, or, investment policy
Mhm.
and Fulton versus,
That comes up
UBS
between
market.
now and then.
You clear on
I
questions.
think those two items will be a full meeting by itself.
Yeah, investment policy is gonna absolutely be forever.
Yeah,
We're
okay.
gonna tear that thing apart.
Okay.
Are you clear on what questions to ask again? I think you are.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Pirated question.
Yes. Yes. Oh, protecting the money.
Okay.
Good, we think that's pretty good, John. Or,
No, yeah.
Now we know, now we need
I
to
make a motion. Close.
Second,
This is a spirited group.
all,
Very right, honey.
all in favor?
I,
Aye.
You know what?
Any opposed?
This makes it good. It makes it good.
oh,
Yeah.
You take this one.